We're live from our studios here, number 35, John Hammond Street in Accra. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the midday news here on 3FM 927. Also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Coming up this afternoon, security operatives in Boko are alleging being targeted by the feeding factions. We'll hear from one of them in an interaction with one of my colleagues. Also, Upper East Regional Minister is meanwhile appealing to security personnel not to abandon their post. Plus, Ashanti South Regional Police Command announces a major breakthrough in its fight against violent crime after a deadly shootout with suspected notorious armed robbery gang. We have the details coming up, and also in this package we ask, is the government's Feed Ghana program the panacea to Ghana's food insecurity problem? We'll tell you more about the new initiative targeted at boosting food production, reducing importation, and creating jobs. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. You're reminded that we're live also on all our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Let's start off the afternoon with the security operatives in the troubled town of Bokua crying out for help as they bemoan what they say is a targeted attack on them. The Boko conflict, spanning decades, has deteriorated over the past few weeks, with at least 3 persons killed in the last 24 hours, and the numbers rising over the last few months, with essential workers fleeing the town being deserted. Security operatives sent to deal with the escalation. 3FM understands, and now the targeted group. An officer who spoke anonymously to my colleague Mawin Egbeta said they cannot even buy water for their camp. For anonymity purposes, this is the voice we'll play to you as the voice of the security officer who spoke with my colleague Eric Mawin Egbeta.
I'm listening.
So I'm just putting this across, and with time, I'll take much time and talk to you. I'm on duty right now.
Sure.
But I'm just talking. We are demoralized. Everybody is scared. Well, we cannot move out. We cannot go anywhere. We just want to go buy water for the officers. We cannot go.
And there's nobody you can report to, like superiors who can help out. Like nobody comes around to do.
We are just tired. We are tired. Joseph is my former classmate. He used to be my classmate at University of Ghana.
Oh.
And I've been keeping this to myself for long. But I feel like today I'm tired. At least I should try and say something.
And so that's the voice, or the muffled voice, of one of the officers in the Boko area, speaking with my colleague Eric Mawina Egbeta, clearly saying that they are tired. Now they feel that they are now being targeted. Well, the Upper East Regional Minister, Donato Zakamburi Atanga, he has meanwhile called on security personnel deployed to Boko and its surrounding areas not to abandon their post, but to request additional logistical support to come back to the ongoing conflict in the region. Speaking on Sunrise Morning Show following the tragic loss of lives of 2 police officers, the minister emphasized the critical role of security forces in maintaining peace and urged them to remain steadfast despite the challenges there.
I think if you talk about protecting the police, the way you can protect them is that if they have body armor and then they have the helmets, that and then armor cars, that can help them be able to contain crime. But when you get into those services, you are not put into those services only for you to be at a place where there is no issue. You are put into those services because there's a need for you. When there's a conflict, you should go and resolve. So I would rather think that the police will only call for what they can use to protect themselves in the situations like that. And that one we have made, the RESEC has made call on the Interior Minister. And just last week, they had brought some, just inadequate anyway, and but we think that they're still continuing to supply. And so I would rather encourage that the police should rather see that an area where there's a conflict, that is the more reason why they have been recruited into the security services to protect those areas. And so if anybody is calling that he should be released from an area where they need him most, I don't think that is the right way to go.
But
so
Minister,
I believe that the authorities should rather try to see if you are there to protect. You should not be doing it at the peril of your life.
Exactly.
You should be armed in a manner that when you are there to protect others, you yourself should be protected. That is what I can be looking at. That's the police personnel. We have made a strong case that they should be given protective clothing, so that they will be able to perform their duty there, so that it will not be at the peril of their lives. And so just last week, 2 armor cars came in, and then I understand there are some other equipment. So these are not items that you can be mentioning on radio. So because for security reasons, but they are trying to respond to those things so that they will be able to contain the robbery issues over there. But I am saying that it is rather unfortunate that when there's a place that you need the service of the personnel, they rather will call and say that they should let them leave the place. They should rather call and say that they should try to provide them all the necessary equipment that will make them defend the people or pursue their career without doing it at the peril of their lives. That is my position on the issue.
That's the voice of the Upper East Regional Minister, Donatus Akamogri Atanga, speaking there. Well, the minister has also said calls for state of emergency, for the declaration of a state of emergency in the area, those calls are immature. Let's speak to Adib Sani, a security analyst on the back of this. Mr. Sani, thank you so much for holding the line for us. Now, we have seen 2 policemen killed in what the police statement is saying is a robbery incident. Now, my question to you is, from residents themselves now to police officers, how worrying is this issue?
Well, I think the police was so quick to come out with a statement. I, as a criminal researcher, feel a lot more investigation should have been done for the police to draw conclusion. Because as it stands, it becomes very difficult to tell whether it is a robbery incident or it is related to the chieftaincy dispute. Because I do know that there are cases where hitmen would go into a house, kill, and make it look like it was a struggle, because they would destroy the items in the room. They would pick up some few items and make it look like there was a struggle during a robbery or a random act of violence. Meanwhile, it was targeted, okay? So a whole lot of complexities go into this, but surely it is very worrying. It beats my imagination how those 2 young looking, I've seen their pictures, gentlemen can be killed in such a despicable, such a dastardly and very gruesome fashion. I've seen the videos, and trust me, I regretted even seeing the videos because I was ambushed. Someone sent it to me. They didn't give a caveat. I just opened it, and lo and behold, I saw it. It is shocking, and I'm hoping that the police would conduct, together with other security services, an elaborate investigation into the matter and the perpetrators brought to book. But I've always indicated, Crosby, that, you see, beyond the chieftaincy, there are criminal elements. I'm not saying what happened is a case of, criminal actors. It can be anything, okay? But there are persons who are taking advantage of the whole conflict to perpetrate other forms of criminality. I remember some time ago, I had a meeting with the then National Security Minister, Honorable Albert Kandakba, and he explained, particularly on a certain incident where someone was killed, only for investigation to reveal it was land-related. It was a land dispute within the same family, okay? So we need to be very cautious in order not to inflame passions in order not to push people into staging retribution.
Adi, will calls for the declaration of a state of emergency in the area, will those calls be justified? Now, that is despite the fact that we have curfew in the area and it seems not to be working.
The curfew is almost the same as a state of emergency because surely movement is limited. At 6 p.m., you are asked to go inside and only come out at 6 a.m. It's very similar to state of emergency. But one thing is for sure, state of emergencies don't solve the issue. It is only an opportunity to stop the belligerence whilst you explore other options. So for anyone to think that a state of emergency is what is going to solve this, then the person doesn't really understand the dynamics in the area. So sure, if the state of emergency has to be imposed, why not? But let's be mindful of the fact that we need to complement it with other strategies.
Adib Sani, thank you so much for speaking with us on the program. Adib Sani is a security analyst who made time for us there. This is a subject to be paying attention to, be bringing you details in a subsequent bulletins. But now, the Ashanti South Regional Police Command, it has announced a major breakthrough in its fight against violent crime after a deadly shootout with suspected notorious armed robbery gang responsible for multiple attacks on miners, motorists, and even a bank in the region. 4 suspects, the robbers, they have been gunned down at Sanfo as part of efforts to bring crime down. The police in the region say they will continue to pursue criminals and their accomplices to ensure the safety of residents. Ibrahim Ubakar is joining us with more details after a press briefing at Bekwa. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. What more have the police been saying about these operations?
Well, Crosby, this gang led by one something alias Tuga and WK, who is an ex-convict from Edubiase, according to the police, have been terrorizing residents in Fomena, Dompasi, and its surrounding areas. All these areas are within the Adansi North, the Strait of Ashanti region. And between February 15 to when they were killed, that was on April 12, they have committed or they are suspected to be involved in about 6 major robberies within the district alone. And mostly they target miners and also banks. For instance, on February 15 rather, they are suspected to be the ones who ambushed some miners traveling between Akugoso and Nadukwe. They shot at their victims and made away with gold worth 150,000 cedis. Then on February 16, another attack on mining sites. This around, there was even a police shootout, and they ended up shooting an officer, and they even stole his AK-47 rifle and an amount of 200,000 Ghana cedis. Then on March 14, they also attacked some Chinese miners. April 5, they attacked 2 small-scale miners at their site, shot at them, and also made away with gold worth 80,000 Ghana cedis. Then on April 10, they attacked the Adansi Rural Bank. This time around, they stole unspecified amount of money and also stole 2 pump-action guns that belonged to the security there. On April 11, some 7 passenger vehicles were also attacked around Akrokere, around Kwanta stretch, and the passengers were robbed. So on April 12, the police said upon their intelligence, they tracked these suspects down to Sanfo, where they saw them, and upon seeing them, these suspects started firing at them. So there was a fierce gun battle that ensued between them and resulting in the shooting of 5 of these suspects. 4 died at the hospital, whilst 1 is currently receiving treatment at the Bekwa government hospital. And the police is giving that assurance that they will make sure that they rid the entire area of criminal elements and keep the sanity of the area. And they are also appealing to residents to give them vital information that will lead to the arrest of similar criminals, because they believe that these 6 or these 5 who were shot are not the only ones. They have accomplices, and they are doing everything possible to track down these accomplices and make sure that the people who are living within the Adansi enclave do so and transact their business in a safe environment.
Ibrahim, thank you so much for that detailed reporting. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Ashanti regional correspondent speaking with us there. To some other stories this afternoon, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, has expressed serious concerns over the increasing rate of power theft in the northern region, especially the Greater Tamale metropolis. According to him, over 70% of residents in the Greater Tamale metropolis are engaged in illegal connections, leading to millions of cedis in revenue losses to the Northern Electricity Distribution Company. The minister warned that the northern region may face a blackout in power supply if the situation is not immediately addressed. John Jinapor is currently in the northern region to engage with some key stakeholders on how to collaborate to ensure the power distribution company is able to mobilize revenue and also prevent power losses. My colleague Christopher Marco, he is with the minister. He's joining us with some more updates. Chris, thank you for joining us. First of all, tell us, how worrying is the issue of power theft, or how rampant is it in the region?
Yes, so Crosby, I can confirm to you that according to the power distribution company, that is the Northern Electricity Distribution Company Limited, the power theft situation in the region is very severe because a lot of illegal connections ongoing in the region, especially the Tamale metropolis, leading to revenue losses for the company. Last year, there was a mass illegal connection detection team led by the Northern Electricity Company Distribution, where most houses were identified as using illegal connection, and so the company took most of them to court and they were fined some money. So according to the minister, this time round they are going to ensure that revenue mobilization is enhanced, illegal connections are detected and culprits will be dealt with, so that the company will be able to rake in more revenue for power stability.
Right, I see. Chris, now before you take leave of us, what else has the minister been saying about improving power supply in the region?
Yes, so first of all, there are some two substations that are being constructed to enhance power supply in the northern parts of the country. One at Adobili, around Lamashego in the Greater Tamale metropolis. So when this project is completed, they will hook areas like Salaga and other communities within the Tamale enclave to this substations, so that it will enhance the power supply to ensure stable power distribution to the area. We also know about the power supply from Tamale, Yendi, Bimbila up to Ketekrachi in the Bosa region, and so the minister is also giving the assurances that all these substations will be worked on to enhance power supply. But the issue of illegal connection, which is a major concern for the minister, is something that he's engaging stakeholders this afternoon. He has so far met with the paramount chief of Tamale, that is the Bupena. He's also met with the Lamashaguna. He'll be meeting other business community and other people, so that they will find measures of ensuring that the issues of illegal connection is addressed in the metropolis.
Christopher, thank you so much for bringing us those updates. Christopher Marcus speaking to us from the northern region there. Now, President John Dramani Mahama over the weekend, he launched government's flagship agricultural program dubbed Feed Ghana program. It seeks to revolutionize the country's agricultural sector by increasing food production, reducing reliance on imports and creating jobs for the youth. The program includes a sub-project focusing on vegetables, grains, poultry, oil, tubers and other key commodities to strengthen food security and boost agro-processing. While speaking during the launch in Techiman in the Bono East region, the president said the initiative will provide farmers with essential support to enhance productivity and stabilize food systems. He emphasized the urgency of reducing Ghana's $2 billion annual food import, which exposes the country to external market risks.
The Feed Ghana program is our flagship initiative. It is a strategic umbrella under which all agricultural projects and interventions will be executed. It is anchored on deliberate actions to increase food production promote modern farm practices, strengthen infrastructure, and develop agro-industrial zones across the length and breadth of Ghana. Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world has shifted. Global protectionism is rising. Tariff wars are being waged among the world powers, and new trade tensions are emerging between nations. These trends demand a fundamental rethink of how we feed ourselves and engage with regional markets like the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Feed Ghana program is therefore timely. It represents a bold commitment to put our resources where our ambitions lie.
And that's the voice of President John Dramani Mahama there. Well, talking about the country's annual food import bill, let's look at some of it for some selected food items, of course. Now, if we're starting with live animals, we're looking at some over $17 million in 2023. And also in 2024, also around $17 million. Now, for meat and edible meat, over $209 million. That's the figure we're looking at. That has been generated by the Ghana Statistical Service and the 3 News Research Desk. So for meat and edible meat, also in that range, over 209. Now for dairy produce, that we're looking in essence of some $70 million. For edible vegetables, tomatoes, garden eggs, onions, and all of that, we're looking at some $9 million. In fact, we're looking at $9.6 million from 2023, and an increase to over $12 million in 2024. So in 2024, looking at some $12.3 million. Now to edible fruit, $44 million in 2023. For 2024, we're looking at a reduction of about $2 million, so $42 million in 2024. Now to coffee and cereals. For coffee in 2023, the import expenditure of the import bill, it stood at $8 million. But look at this, as it went into 2024, it ballooned more than twice the amount, close to 3 times the amount, to over $21.8 million. That's a huge jump. Now cereals, $301 million in 2023, but in 2024 reduction to about $256 million, and that's according to the Ghana Statistical Service and the 3 News Research Desk. So this is Ghana's food import expenditure, Ghana's food import bill, and on some selected products from live animals, meat and edible meat, dairy produce, edible vegetables, edible fruit, coffee, and cereals there. So if you didn't know, now you have an idea what we are talking about. Let's do some other stories this afternoon. And several hectares of arable lands have been destroyed, pushing several thousands of smallholder farmers out of business. More farmers are on the verge of losing their investment, a situation that can threaten Ghana's food security should illegal mining continue at its current rate. Correspondent Akwesiado, he'll be joining us with some more details on this disturbing development of this threat. Akwesiado, if you can hear me, thank you so much for joining us on the program. Can you give us an idea of how many farmers have been directly impacted by illegal mining in these regions?
Okay, thank you, Crosby. So we're talking about several thousands of farmers across the country, but those that have been heavily affected are farmers in the central and western region. And this is not just the peasant farmers who are raising this concern, but then women in agriculture are also raising a similar concern, because according to them, over 1.2 million of hectares of farmland have been completely taken over by illegal miners. What it means is that these lands can no longer be used for agri purpose unless they are reclaimed. And then there are some of these farmers whose farms were possibly taken by the illegal miners. It means that they had no compensation from the miners, and so they've lost virtually their livelihood and their capital. There are several other farmers who are more likely to be affected in the coming days, and so they are very concerned and calling on authorities to act.
Well, while authorities act, what steps are they taking to address the ongoing destruction of farmland and prevent further loss?
So we know mostly these farmers are helpless because these are smallholder farmers. One, they do not even have that kind of huge capital. And then two, it's very difficult. Even those who do large-scale farming find it difficult in dealing with these illegal miners. Talk of these smallholder farmers. And so they appear to be helpless. So all that they are counting on is for government to make intervention on their behalf to ensure that their livelihood is protected.
And finally, Akwasi, and you've engaged the president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. What has he also been saying?
So I've been speaking to Awal Webia, who is the president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, and they would want government to, one, protect their farms for them, and then two, they are raising concern that in the whole of this country, we do not have reserved lands for agricultural purpose. And so they would want government to map out specific areas for the purpose of agriculture, so that those areas would be protected lands that would not have illegal miners or any other persons invading those areas unless it is for the purpose of mining. They would want activities on illegal mining activities in and around all water bodies to cease forthwith, because according to them, they can no longer source water from many of the rivers for their farming activities.
Akwasiado, thank you so much for joining us with those updates. Akwasiado speaking with us also on the subject there. This is still the midday news on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. But before we take leave of you, this afternoon, the Accra High Court has ordered prosecutors to expedite investigations in order for the plea of Uchechukwu Chima to be taken after being on remand for weeks. Now, the 56-year-old is standing trial after the Narcotics Control Commission operation led to the discovery of some 192 kg of cocaine and 0.42 kilograms of heroin worth some $2.1 million. Lord Edwasare has been in court. Let's touch base with him with some more updates. Lord, thank you for joining us. Briefly, what has been happening in courts today?
Right, Crosby, so like you stated, the 56-year-old Nigerian, I should add, he was held before the court this almost noon. We did not know the charges that have been proffered against him, because when the case was called, the lead prosecutor in the matter, a state attorney, told the court that he had just been served with a report or document from the Ghana Standards Authority, and so they were pleading for more time to be able to file new charges on the accused person. But at that point, the judge in the matter was not too pleased, because she indicated that the accused person, Okechukwu, he's been in remand of the NACOC for weeks, and they've just been parading him back and forth without a bail. And she indicated that they have the power to, as it were, grant him bail. So she didn't understand why they kept bringing him to the court, to make it seem as though the court is the one that did not want to grant him bail. So once he cautioned and then ordered the prosecution to expedite their investigation so that the plea of Okechukwu can be taken, because at the time the charges have not been read in court. He does not know the charges leveled against him, and so his plea has not been taken. And so
thank you. And that's my colleague Lord Edwasare speaking with us there, ending the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. But there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. I'll be back shortly with business news. Stay with us.
FM 92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Get ready! I just wanna praise you.
3FM.
Come for you are. Come for you are. Come for you are.
What is your favorite scripture?
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your Inspirational Gospel Mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3FM 92.7.
I wake up early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helena Biambofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Hello again. Welcome to the business segment on 3FM 92.7. There's more news also on our social media platforms at 3FM 927. Join us. Let's talk business. Coming up, a government treasury bills auction sees robust investor appetite as yields rise after weeks of under subscription. We have the details coming up shortly. Also, Ghana's stock market sees strong start to 2025. Sparking hopes and questions about economic recovery. Also, Ghana risk further currency pressure as $25 million needed for vaccine imports hits this year. We hear from the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando, as well. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Let's settle for the details right after this. Let's get into the details, shall we? And Ghana's latest treasury auction has demonstrated robust investor appetite for government securities, particularly short-term bills, even as yields continue their upward trajectory. The auction held on April 11, 2025, saw the government successfully raise some 6.74 billion cedis, slightly exceeding its target of 6.68 billion cedis. There's more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
The official results released by the Bank of Ghana revealed significant interest in the shorter end of the yield curve. The 91-day bill proved to be the most sought-after instrument, attracting tenders of 5.8 billion cedis, of which 5.68 billion cedis was accepted. Both the 182-day and 364-day bills were fully allotted. The 182-day accepted amounts of 908.44 million cedis, while 364-day bills accepted 57.94 million cedis. Despite the strong demand, yields across all tenors showed an increase. The annualized interest rates effectively earned by investors presented a wider spread compared to the clearing yields. 91-day yield was 15.45%, 182-day bill was 16.21%, and that of 364-day was 18.65%. The auction results underscore the ongoing investor interest in government debt, albeit with a clear preference for shorter tenors amid an environment of rising yields and economic uncertainty.
Now, away from that, Ghana's stock market had a strong first quarter in 2025, with the main index rising by over 27% and financial stocks gaining nearly 29%. The sharp growth is giving many investors hope that the country's economy is turning a corner after years of difficulty. But some are still asking whether this rise will last or it's just a short-term boost for recent government policies. Obna Amwa is Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange.
So far this year, at the end of March, the equities market was up 27%. The fixed income market volume traded is up 45% compared to the same time last year. Our market is being resilient, and the challenge or the opportunity for many is we need more IPs. We need more companies to come to market and access the money that's available. Our joint regulators, also called the West Africa Securities Regulators, are working with us, the market operators, to really transform the West Africa market. And Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, or BRVM are all taking initiatives to come together and see how we can do cross-trading. So we have a project called the West Africa Capital Markets Integration Project, and it means that a Ghanaian now, instead of having access to only securities that are listed on the GSE, also has access to trade securities on the Nigerian exchange and on the BRVM.
Now, moving on, Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Kando says the country will need not less than $25 million this year alone to import vaccines, a development he warns could further strain the city. Speaking at the Pharma Excellence Awards in Accra, the minister said the heavy reliance on vaccine import means the country must constantly convert its local currency into foreign exchange, which puts pressure on the cedi and contributes to its depreciation. He's urged the local pharmaceutical industry to take up the challenge of domestic vaccine production to reduce forex outflows and enhance national health security.
At this point in time, our partners who assist us in procuring most of our vaccines are gradually pulling off. This year alone, we need not less than $25 million to import, even as a counterpart funding, to import vaccines into this country. So I think it's a challenge to the industry. So that some of you will take up the challenge and begin to manufacture most of the vaccines we require as a country. And it will be our responsibility as government to also link up with other governments in the sub-region to lift from Ghana. So let us all take up the challenge. You do your part, we also do our part. And that is the only way we can get to the final destination. If we begin and continue this way where we import more than 70%, it has serious consequences on the economy, because what it means is that we are converting our cedis into major currencies for importation, and that puts a lot of pressure on our currency, hence the depreciation of our currency.
That's the voice of the Health Minister there, Kwabena Mintah Kando. Meanwhile, President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Dr. Samuel Kodonko, has warned that any pharmacist or wholesaler found engaging in the illegal sale of opioids will face severe sanctions, starting with the revocation of their operating licenses. He stressed that the Pharmacy Council is adopting a zero-tolerance approach to the unlawful distribution of opioids, a growing menace contributing to substance abuse in parts of the country. Dr. Donko added that pharmacists who flout the law not only risk losing their licenses, but also face expulsion from the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana.
As for the regulatory arm, I can assure that the Pharmacy Council will spare no one who is found to be involved in this illicit drugs dealings. If you're a community pharmacy, you're a wholesaler, and you are found to be dealing in such products, your license will be withdrawn or will be revoked. And if you're a pharmacist, you will also get your license suspended. It's something that we have zero tolerance for it. Anybody who is found to be involved in such illegal drug trade in the country, we will deal with them accordingly at the Pharmacy Council level. At the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana level too, we would also deal with you by expelling you from the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana if you're a pharmacist and you are found to be dealing in opioids and opiates in a way that does not conform to the laws of the country.
The voice of Dr. Samuel Donko, president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, ending the business news on 3FM 92.7. There's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.